Boy, do I wish I had an emulation station to talk about. Oh hey, wishes do come true! And I just wasted my wish on this thing. Could have wished for $1 million, or world peace, or a voice that's not so grating. Well, I guess I gotta live with it. Yes, this is the JXD emulation system, or as it's more officially known, the JXD 4.3-inch dual-core big rocker classic nostalgic retro arcade console built-in 9,000 game arcade Neo Geo CP1, CP2, GBC, GBS, SENS, NES, SMD, MP3, MP4. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? So yeah, this is from JXD, who are actually pretty known for their emulation systems. They've been doing this since, well, actually it says on the title screen as soon as you turn it on, 1995. That's when they were founded. I don't know if they were doing emulation back then as well. They could have been. Okay, so to be real, I actually found this at a Savers a couple weeks ago, and it was only $4 instead of, well, I'll get to the pricing in a little bit, but hey, it was something that it was $4. Well, how could I turn that down? So I bought it, and I played with it a little bit, and, well, now I'm here to tell you what I think about it. So, as you can see, it's shaped like a little arcade cabinet, I want to say that there's something very similar to this that I've seen that this resembles. Little Neo Geo arcade, maybe? The only thing that I can think of that this really resembles is that Japanese-only little Game Boy arcade thing. You slide the Game Boy in the top, the original Game Boy, you slide it in the top, and then you get to control it with all the buttons and all the control and the joystick, and yeah, it didn't do very well. I haven't played it myself, but from what I hear, it's absolutely horrible. But that's what it reminds me of, and, well, if it reminds me of that, then that's not exactly a good start, but, let's see. So yeah, arcade layout. We have the joystick, the very free-traveling joystick here. We'll get to that in a little bit. Select, start, volume control, and then A, B, R, Y, X, L. Yeah, 6 buttons, so pretty much all you need for any arcade game, but not necessarily for all the other games, but again, we will get to that. Not a big fan of the color scheme. I don't know. I've just never been a fan of red and white together. Now blue and black. Now we're talking, but not necessarily this color scheme. Let's see. We got a 4x3 screen, though it's more stretched out than the typical 4x3 format that usually means. JXD, just in case you forget who made it. And oh, there's me in the screen. The very fingerprinty screen. I probably should have washed this off before I started this video. You don't get to see my ugly face. I can live with that. Let's see. So when I first got this, I thought this actually ran on batteries. I saw this little battery compartment down here and thought that I'd need to get regular AA for it. But no, I'm actually going to open it up. I'm going to open it up. I wasn't planning to, but I think I'm going to open it up just to show you. Yeah, rechargeable battery. Rechargeable. Well, I can't see any specifications on here, so just rechargeable battery. Now, the actual place, once I screw this back in, all right. The actual place to charge it is through this DC micro USB slot. And honestly, I think that these micro USB cords are actually getting harder and harder to find. I had to really scrounge to find one that would work with this system, but I did, so that's good. Let's see, and then the SD card, the micro SD slot, which is called TF for some reason. You gotta push on it very hard. There we go. Yeah, that's basically the entire system. This is everything on the system. All the emulators, all the videos, all the games, all on one 32 gigabyte micro SD. So as a result, the system is very light and top heavy. So this part with the controls barely weighs anything, but this part with the screen and the speaker, which again we'll get to in a minute, yeah, very, very heavy, very lopsided. It actually, just holding this right now kind of hurts my wrist because all the weight is on this side. Speaking of weight, it's about 3 pounds. I probably could have weighed it, but who cares? Yeah, one big speaker. I don't know if it's a mono speaker or a stereo speaker, but it's a booming speaker, as you will hear once I finally turn this on. What else we got? We got the headphones, 2 USB things. Well, again, we'll come back to that, and the HDMI out. Yes, this outputs stuff in HDMI. That is one of the major reasons why I bought this thing. This is the first emulation station that I've purchased that can output these games in HDMI or HD 1080p. Let's work with that. So I thought that this would actually be a great thing to have around because, you know, I get to output stuff in 1080p. Okay, now I keep saying 1080p, but it might be 720p. I actually did not check. Well, I'll have to check once I show you the video on it. And then, of course, we have the power thing, which is surrounded by this ring here. I don't know if this ring was originally here or if the previous owner put this on, but it's nice. It's nice. So I thought this would be something fun to keep around and play games on, and especially the unofficial games that I'm sort of known for on this channel. And, well, again, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Oh, I think I gave you a modest tour of the outside. Very heavy on one side, but not on the other. So let's just turn it on. Let's turn it on and see what kind of magic JXD has produced for us. JXD started in 1995. So maybe let me move this a little closer. This may be a problem. The screen's tilted at about a 30-degree angle. So let's see if I can move the camera here. Tilt the camera. Oh, right, on the backlight. This is a very well-produced video, isn't it? All right, let's see. Yeah, I currently have the backlight set to turn off. That is loud, isn't it? Let's turn that down for a minute. Right, anyway, I had it programmed to turn off the backlight every 5 seconds, but I don't think we need that anymore, so... Oh no, this is the backlight settings. This is the various levels, which my camera is automatically adjusting for. That's kind of fun to see. Let's go with... Oh, let's keep it at level 4. Alright, anyway, off-screen settings. Normally on. So you can have it for 5, 10, 15, 30, 60, or always on. I like to keep it at something seconds so that I don't run the battery down, which is very low, as we will get to again. Let's see, language settings. Glad we had this talk. Theme style. Yes, you can have it either as this castle thing, this castle island. It looks like something out of Harry Potter. I don't quite know where that is. Oh well. Or you can just have it regular blue. Maybe there's a play. No, well, actually, it's more purple, but it's picking up as blue on the camera. Maybe there's a way to install more themes, but I don't know, and nor do I really care. Off-screen settings, backlight, keytone. Yeah, we can have it sound like. Or, actually, let's turn this up for. Okay, so we can have it sound like. Or. or no sound at all. Personally, I like the tones that play when I move the thing around. It lets me know that something's actually going on. Restore default settings, don't need to do that. And system information. Type, GB2, retro game, firmware version, blah, 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 blah. Hasn't been updated since 2019, and unfortunately, from what I've seen on the site, there is no firmware update for this thing. You are unable to update any program in any way, even if you have a blank SD card. So that kind of sucks, especially, well, again, we'll get to some stuff. Let's see. Let's bump the camera. Is this a good volume? Yeah, this sounds like a good volume. Whoops. This sounds like a good volume. I guess we'll just keep it like that. See what happens. So, as you could surmise from that incredibly catchy title, this system can play all sorts of different games through emulation. Emulation is the future. But before we get into the games, let's see what else it can offer us. So, there are the games. We'll get to those in a second. Now, here's some music. Polo Guitar MP3. Yes, it plays MP3 files, and I do not know if it plays anything else. I haven't put anything else on here, but I don't think I need to. I think that this is pretty straightforward. So let's hear a little bit of Polo Guitar. I think that's enough Polo Guitar. Actually, let's hear it one more time with the volume turned all the way up, to give you an idea of what the speakers are like. In fact, I better point. Let me point the speaker toward the camera and see if you can get an idea. Hopefully you got an idea of what the sound's like. Yeah, that's actually something I really like about this console. It's very. It only has one speaker, but man, it has one big speaker. It has a very booming bass-filled speaker that really shakes the console when as you're playing. So that's actually kind of nice. That could get annoying, but I kind of like it. I really like a little bit of boom in my sound. I really need to get a better computer speaker system with a subwoofer. Is that what they're called? Is that what they're called these days, or is the younger generation calling them something different? I don't know, but at the same time, I don't care. So there's your music, and we can look at some pictures. Yes, it supports JPEG. So let's see what we got. We got some little mushroom houses, some very two-dimensional, three-dimensional mushroom houses. They're like drawn to be 3D. It was kind of like what it looks like. Probably a canceled prototype for a Smurfs video game, which good. We don't need any of those. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Excuse me. And my cough knocked over the camera. That's professional. That's very professional. Excuse me. Anyway, you can see down here that these come from Nipic.com. Let's see. I can't see the rest of the information there. It's too bright. But that is a very interesting picture. Who wants to bet that they did not get permission to use it though? Let's see. Clip art on parade. More clip art on parade. More clip art on it looks like somebody tried to create Super Mario Galaxy using just images they found on Google. And they most definitely did not get permission for that image. I would wager my right kidney. And that's it for the pictures. And the video. Yes, okay, this is what I actually paid attention to when I was testing this system out. I was testing the video compatibility and what it can and can't play, because I figured that that's the most important part of a system like this. I mean, if it can't play video, then then just how powerful is the console going to be? If it can't render video, then how's it going to render the games? So these came with the console, these backoms, and let's just take a look at one really quick. Whoops, just trying to pause that. Let's turn on another one. Okay, I think that's enough footage. Hopefully that doesn't trigger any copyrights. But yeah, ironically, I only just recently found out who this guy is. This is that I believe his English name is Bernard, and I have one of his movies on one of those 8-pack kids DVDs that I featured on another previous video of DVDs I found at Dollar Tree. So that's kind of interesting that they'd have these Bernard shorts on this system. Though of course they're probably again unlicensed. It kind of makes sense that they're on here though, because these are from South Korea, I believe, and I believe that JXD has ties with South Korea if they're not located in South Korea itself. I don't believe they are, but okay. So yeah, they have Well, they have a couple out of order, but they have 8 of those Bernard shorts. I keep wanting to call him Oswald. I have no idea. Now, here's stuff that I put on. So it said that it could support Windows Movie, and I put one of the stop motion videos that I made quite a while ago on here, and all it does is play audio and show the very first still image. So you can hear the music in the background, but without video, that doesn't exactly help any. And then I put something I thought would play just fine on here, just a small trailer that I recorded. I think it was only about 1 gigabyte. Does absolutely nothing. So then I put an even smaller video on here, my Patreon video that I play at the end of my review videos, and still nothing. Still nothing. This is only about 200 megabytes, if even that. So I had to go in and find a really small video that I had on my hard drive, and I just so happened to have a TV recording of an Ed and Eddie episode. And that one actually works. Not gonna play any more of that. But, okay, so it does play different formats of video, but only small files. Only, I would say, anything above 50 megabytes, and it just freezes. It will not do a single thing. So, if you're trying to watch the entire Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, film trilogies, film septilogies, what is the proper word for 6 films? If you're trying to watch all the movies on here, it's not going to work. And let's see, and finally it's just the file. Finally, it's just the file explorer. You can go through game, music, pick, video, system volume information. Oh, what happened? I thought I went back. I guess I pushed A. I froze the system. Clicking on system volume information freezes the system. That's nice to know. It's nice that they put an instant freeze folder on their system for any unsuspecting reviewer to just click on it and look like a complete idiot, as if I needed any help there. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's play a couple games. Actually, let's find a good position here, and then we'll play some games. Yeah, let's go with that. There we go. All right, might as well start with what this thing's technically built for, these arcade fighters, which are the first things on the main screen, and I don't know if I can change them or not. I have not found an option to do that, but let's just go with Street Fighter 2. I don't want to play a fighting game. I don't like fighting games. I mean, okay, that's too strong. I don't mind fighting games. I'm just crap at them. So yeah, just go ahead and laugh at me for trying to play this. This game is for use in all countries excluding the United States of America. I'm naughty. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Yeah, so push select to insert coin, push start. I don't care, I'm horrible at everybody, so let's just go with them, Bison. Can you hear me over the sound? Let's turn the sound down a little bit. Round 1, fight! Here, I gotta look out to the side of the camera because my camera has a slight delay, so I got it. Get off! Get off! Get off! Yeah, so I've just never had the coordination for fighting games. I can never get my head around the push left, right, up, down, at B, A while holding C and kick punch and to move the joystick around in a circle while you're 2 inches away from the enemy to pull off some kind of fighting move. Oh, I almost won. I almost won just by complete random chance, just by spamming the kick button and jump. That's the only way that I can ever get anywhere in these games. Which reminds me that I gotta play that Dragon Ball Z plug and play fighting game one of these days. That's gonna be fun. Get the flip off me! Okay. Well, you didn't have to rub it in. But yeah, as you can see, the emulation's pretty spot on. I don't detect any slowdowns or screen tearing or any sound glitches. It's basically 1-to-1. Except for the tiny, slightly problematic thing that it's locked in widescreen. Yeah, these older... every single game on here is locked into widescreen, into 16:9. Is that what we're calling it these days? Or am I being grandpa again? But yeah, everything is stretched, and there's no way to fix it. So the arcade thing... The arcade's not as noticeable, I guess, so let's go to something that is noticeable. Let's go play... Let's go ahead and play an NES game. Let's see, that's not it. The one that I wanted to play is on here. Here it is, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that's stretched. That is uncomfortably stretched. What else is uncomfortable? I just noticed I had my light on. Give me 1 minute. There, hopefully we don't have as much of a glare hopefully we don't have as much of a glare now. I thought it wasn't going to be as much of a problem, but no, it is. It is, definitely is. Also, the colors look a lot better on the screen. I probably should say it's probably through my camera that they're a little washed out and too bright. That's the problem I have when I'm guerrilla recording these arcade things, like with my like when I did that knockoff console with the Plants vs. Zombies and that Stranger Things arcade cabinet. It just never looks right. Right, anyway. Yeah, here we go. Now, I think this is one of the least bad LGN games. I think this is actually not that horrible a game. Of course, I say that in regards to LJN, so just being playable and everything clearly, and the goal being clearly set is... just meeting the bare minimum is laudable of LJN. Also, I forgot just how hard this game is. And yeah, it's not helped by the fact that everything is stretched. I'm sorry, I'm trying to focus on the... Forgot how slippery this is. Come on! Come on, get down there. No, get down, jump. Oh, I guess that only worked. Ah! I don't know. It's... Oh, that's the game over. Oh, let's continue on. Let's see if I can get to Freddy. Well, actually, since I continued, I guess that's gonna take a short while. See, what happens if I get hurt? Nothing. Okay, my life bar and my Z bar are completely different. Also, the... Oh, come on! It is so slippery! The controls are... Okay, what I was saying about this being the least bad, I might have to take back. Come on, fall asleep already. All right, you know what? Screw it. My life's not worth. I'm not going to live long enough. All right, so yeah, you pause it by hitting start and select together. That's usually the case with these emulation machines. Then you can resume or restart, save, set the save slot, set the save state, load state, and then the controls and yeah, so you have the option of 5 different players for this. How you get 5 players on here, I have no idea. You can remap stuff. You can save your remap to get the layout you like. Let's see. And for some reason, the controls on here are reversed. I don't remember if it's because of if that's actually how they play out in the game, in the actual game, but A attacks and B jumps. No, that's very very distracting. Okay. I have another thing to say about the controls, but I'll get to that in a second as we go into GBA. Now, even though the screen is stretched, it still looks nice. It still plays nice. It's once again no glitches, no color distortion, no sound distortion. However, one of the problems with all the games being on this card is that for some reason when they put the games on here, for most of the directories, they sorted all the games into weird folders with no rhyme or reason. I mean, so here's Game Boy Advance. Has a bunch of Game Boy Advance games. And then here's another one, and suddenly they're all numbered. I think they downloaded these games from several different directories online and just never got around to sorting them out. So in order to get to anything you want, you have to know which folder know which folder they're contained in, or go onto the card and create your own folder, as I did. So these are my favorite games on the Game Boy Advance, at least the ones that I wouldn't mind playing from time to time. And even though the system has a whole bunch of games on it, they don't have certain games. They had the first Sims game, but they didn't have the other Sims game. So I had to go on and download the Sims 2 and Sims 2 Pets and the Herbs. So now I have the Sims, now I have the Herbs, the Sims 2, and the Sims 2 Pets. And now here's something I was actually pretty excited about. So back in the day, 15 years ago, I should say, when I was just starting to learn what emulation was, and I played Game Boy Advance games on my Visual Boy, but that's GBA emulator everyone liked. It would not play the Sims 2 Pets. This is back when they were still making GBA games, and I really wanted to play this, but it would not work on that emulator. Give it a couple minutes. Yeah, works on this one. Works on this one perfectly. And it's one of the worst games I've ever played. It is definitely the weakest of the Sims games, and it so was not worth the wait to finally find an emulator that could play it, or to download it. So anyway, let's play a Sims game that I actually do like. And let's play the Herbs for a little bit. Yeah, this is the game that I've been playing the most on this system. It's I think the Sims games have been slightly I think the Sims games are underrated, overlooked classics, in my opinion. These are some of my favorite Game Boy games. Game Boy Advance games. Not Game Boy games in general. I really like how they keep the Sims feel to it. The taking care of the Sims needs, taking care of their skills and all that, but they also give an action-adventure feel to everything. So you really get to explore the town, and you get to put your skills to use, and the mini games are fun, and yeah, so it's really nice to be able to play something like this in HD. Though not these controls. Not with these controls. Yeah, the controls are the killer. The controls, like I say, the joystick has a lot of range. Let's see if I can... Let's see, can I get both the gameplay and the controls? Let's do something like this. Yeah, so like I say, the joystick has a lot of range, and I don't like a lot of range in games. You just can't... You have no idea how far you can push the joystick until it does something. You have no idea. You just don't get a sense of direction, let's say. Yeah, the travel is just inexcusable, especially for an isometric game like this. The buttons are okay though, but I really wish they had some micro switches, or at the very least that the joystick wasn't as loose, let's say. But yeah, I've been playing this game for a while. It's really nice to revisit it, and whenever I'm done with it, then I can just go into save state, and exit. It does not register actual save files. I remember the Visual Boy emulator on the PC registered save files, but nothing on this console does. You save and it's lost, so you have to go into the save state and save it there. And then you can load it and you can continue playing from that position. Except when you can't. Yeah, another major flaw of the console. Sometimes the saving just fails. And in a very strange way. So I was originally playing The Sims Busting Out, which is sort of like the Herbs, but not as well done. I think the Herbs actually managed to grow to work out some of the bugs that The Sims Busting Out had. And so I was playing this for a while. I at one point I was playing this for like an hour, and I saved it, then I went back in, and this is not where I left off. This is not where, let's see. Yeah, I completed the waterfront quest. I returned all the books to Hester. I was actually getting a lot of cooking and mechanical points at the library. And then I saved and I turned it off, and then I loaded and it loaded me right back here. So that was like at least an hour of playtime gone. Just completely lost. And it's not just this game. It happened to me several times on the Herbs as well. In fact, I tried to do different state slots. I tried saving on both 1 and 2. No, same problem. Sometimes it just reverts back to the last time I saved. I have no idea what triggers this. I have no idea what the problem is, why sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it's when I turn the game off or when I turn the system off. There's just too many variables for me to fully know what the problem is. So that's a major flaw with this console. That's the major thing keeping me from enjoying, well, one of the major things keeping me from enjoying this console. So on the plus side, the Game Boy Advance games, they don't look that bad in this aspect ratio. I think this is their natural aspect ratio. I think they are meant to be played in widescreen. Now, you know what's not meant to be played in widescreen? Regular Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Let's just go into Game Boy Color. Let's see. I don't really have a game in mind here. Let's just choose one at random. Duke Nukem. Let's do that one. Never played Duke Nukem on Game Boy Color. So again, it looks great. I mean, it looks better through my. It looks better through the actual screen and not through my camera, but it's great. It's very well rendered, very well emulated. It's just stretched. It doesn't look right. It throws me off when I play. I don't know, when you stretch these sorts of games, you just don't get the same timing right. You don't get the timing right. You don't get the you don't have a sense of perspective. There's just a lot of things that really go wrong when you're trying to play with a stretched out screen. Okay. I haven't actually played Duke Nukem, but isn't Duke Nukem supposed to be a first-person shooter? Well, I guess you couldn't technically do a first-person shooter on the Game Boy Color, or can you? I've heard that there was this dinosaur first-person shooter that was in development for the Game Boy Color, but then they stopped because they couldn't get it to fully work, I guess. They couldn't actually get it on the cartridge. I don't know. I can't move. Why can't I move? And I'm dead. Okay, well, let's just let Duke Nukem be dead so he doesn't have to experience Duke Nukem forever. And then if the Game Boy Color isn't already bad, then the the regular Game Boy is just inexcusable. Let's see. Castlevania Adventure. Let's go with that one. Yeah, no. No, just no. It's clear, it's smooth, it's well emulated. I mean, the Castlevania games on the Game Boy aren't that great to begin with, but it's no screen tearing. Oh wait, did I say? Did we just get screen tearing as soon as I said no screen tearing? No, maybe it was just a trick. Maybe it was just a trick of the light. Yeah, not enjoying this. Not enjoying this. Okay, and then we got the Mega Drive, of course, and we'll get to the unlicensed in a minute. Yeah, we have pretty much every single Genesis game, every single Genesis and Mega Drive game on here, including Disney's Beauty and the Beast. I only just noticed that, so let's try some Disney Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, it's just inexcusable that I can't switch between ratios. That, I mean, even on that cheapo, what's it called? That handheld Genesis console that I got from Dollar General that one time that runs things on Fire Core. Even that outplayed it in its natural ratio. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Bell did this, Bell did that, Bell did the other. Bell did the Beast eventually. Let's see if we can get it closer. I am totally using the wrong camera to film this. Birds aren't Belle's friends in this one, apparently. That's an inexcusably long loading time. I have no idea what I'm doing. Maybe I shouldn't have... Hey, Gaston! Here she is!
Belle, you're the luckiest girl in the whole world.
I am? Why is that?
Because you get to marry me, that's why.
I do?
Yes, and I'll even make it official. Belle, will you marry me?
No, I couldn't. I just don't deserve you. And that's the end of that. Still more entertainment value than the entirety of the live-action Beauty and the Beast, though. Yeah, again, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Let's forego the PS games Let's forego the PS1 games for now and go straight into the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo games on here. Now, again, they have practically every single Super Nintendo game on here, except they didn't have Terra Enigma, so I put Terra Enigma on here because, of course, every single collection has to have Terra Enigma. In fact, let's turn on Terra Enigma for a minute, and I'll show you just how awesome it is. For anyone unfamiliar with this one, so there's this slightly obscure game series, this action RPG series called the Soul Blazer trilogy, which is comprised of Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and this game, Terra Enigma. Now, we in the States got the first two, though I think Illusion of Gaia was called something else, or maybe it was called something else somewhere else, like Illusion of Eve or something like that. However, Square Enix shut down their... no, not Square Enix, before they became Square Enix, shut down their North American publishing division, I believe. And so, no, we never got Terra Enigma over here. But thanks to emulation, we can play it, and I played this years ago, and it's one of my favorite games, period. It is beautiful. The story is beautiful. The combat is beautiful. The progression is beautiful. It is just so good. So good. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you that much about it because it's one of those story-based action RPGs, and so it takes a while to get anywhere. But I'm just showing you that it works and just how beautiful it looks. Okay, the main character looks like a humanoid version of Rayman, but hey... Yeah, I can't really do anything right now, can I? I can run. I can talk. Yeah, so basically, this is hell. Oh, okay, I need to go. Basically, you start the game in hell. Like, it's a below world, and then you wake up the above world, which turns out to be Earth, and you just follow Earth as it progresses, as it ages, as all this stuff happens. So it's, you kind of start at the dawn of creation, and then humans come along and start civilization, and you follow the civilization, and you find out that the above world has characters very similar to the below world. You find people very similar to the people you find down here, and that's a fascinating concept. That is a fascinating story. So that's one of the reasons why I love this, and I love the characters, and I love the people, and I love that you can pick up pots and smash them like Legend of Zelda. I guess that's all I'm going to show you of this game, but I highly recommend it. You absolutely have to play this. Let's try something that I actually can pick up and play, that I can actually show you. So one interesting thing is that this system was made recently enough that it has Star Fox 2. Or at least it says it has Star Fox 2. I mean, maybe it does, but the emulation system, the emulation software just isn't built for it, because I try to play it and it crashes. Yeah, nothing happens. It just crashes. Maybe that's like an anti-piracy thing that Nintendo built into the SNES Mini when they released it. Maybe it's something that crashes the game when you try to run it on most emulation systems. I don't know. But we can play the original Star Fox. Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, oh, or could we? Does this not have Super FX support? But no, it does. It does. So I wasn't crazy when I first booted this up. Let's see. Which one is the barrel roll? The only Star Fox game I've actually played and completed is Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube, and yeah, that means that I've definitely what's the word? What's the word? I'm deprived. That's the word. But now, thanks to emulation, I can play a little bit of it on here. Hopefully, Nintendo does not try to block the video. Hopefully. Actually, I've heard Nintendo has started to lay off of that. I've heard that Nintendo has finally listened to people complaining about them claiming every single bit of footage of Nintendo games, except and they're not claiming every single video. They're not demanding money anymore. At least that's what I've heard. That might not be true for all systems, for all games, for all channels. So yeah, my video is probably gonna get claimed. So this is pretty fun. And this is where the joystick actually comes in handy. This is actually where a wide amount of movement is necessary for these enemies. So it's not that bad, actually. It's not. The joystick has a use for one game, so that we can give it that. All right, I'm gonna quit out of that one. And let's look at the PS1 now. Now, originally it had Tekken on here, so let's look at Tekken for a minute. This is the game that came with the system to begin with, which is understandable because they're trying to prove that they can do arcade games with their arcade layouts. So, of course, they'd put Tekken 3 on here. So let's just watch me fail at Tekken for a minute. I have no idea about anything about Tekken. It's like the only things I know about Tekken are the Tekken movies. Well, Tekken movies. There was that Tekken anime, and then there was that live-action Tekken, and then there was Tekken Blood Vengeance, and then there was that other Tekken movie, that direct-to-video Tekken 2 movie, something like that. I haven't actually seen them myself, but I have seen Spoonie do reviews of them, and I miss Spoonie. I miss when Spoonie was fun and all there, mentally stable. Well, I actually won by spamming one button over and over again. I must have it on super easy or something. But yeah, that's actually very impressive, though, that we can run PlayStation games on here. That is something that not all emulation systems can handle. PlayStation games and polygonal polygonal characters, and yeah, and just look at how fluid it is. Whoops. Must push something. Oh well, but yeah, it's actually perfect. It is perfect PlayStation emulation, I would say. And in fact, I had to test it even further, so I put a bunch of PlayStation 1 games on here. So let's go into Tomba and yeah, nothing. So I had to go in and rename a couple of the files, and then I could go in and play. Let's see, do I have... Yeah, I had to rename them to image and CCD. I believe I renamed the lesser file, the image, and the bigger file as CCD. And then I could go in and play. So let's play a little bit of Hercules. This is another thing that I was playing a little bit of before I decided to feature this console. So let's just load what I have up. Yeah, look at that. Looks so much better than the Hercules 2 game that I played and featured once upon a time. Let's see, I think I go up here. Yeah, it's just beautiful. It is beautiful. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney animators actually worked on this game. And it has several planes of scrolling, and it has several planes of play, and it has all these power-ups, that voice clips, many different moves to pull off. This is just a beautiful game. Absolutely beautiful. However, that brings us to another major problem with the game console. No third-party controller support at all. Yeah. So originally this console did come with different controllers, but they were basically just these the controls on here, just with the directional pad instead of an arcade stick, and so they didn't include any more buttons, any way to remap anything, and so. And those are the only controllers that work with these consoles, apparently. I've heard that people have gotten other controllers to work on the console, which, if that's possible, great. But me, I couldn't get anything to work. I used an Xbox 360 controller. No, it didn't detect anything. Well, and then I got a PS3 controller just to test it on this system, because a PS3 controller will work on anything, apparently. No, the best I got from either controller was that the characters could walk. That's it. And it's probably because the mapping is just so bad, so basic. It only maps to buttons on its face. So if it doesn't recognize any other buttons on any other controller, then that's it. You're screwed. No other remapping possible. Now, for most of the games on most of the systems on this console, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you have enough buttons on here for most NES, most Super Nintendo, most Genesis games, and you probably have enough buttons on here for a good number of PlayStation 1 games. But then what if you need to play a game that requires the R2 and L2 buttons? What if you need something with analog support? What if you want to play Spider-Man on here? Then you're stuck. You're completely out of luck. That you have no way of attaching any other controller to this thing and have it register. You have no way of setting anything up. Of course, I'm just speaking out of my butt right here. That maybe there is some way to connect other controllers, but from everything I've seen, I have not seen a single video that's shown me how to do that. So yeah, very disappointing. Very disappointing. That's one of the deal killers of this console for me. And of course, it's still stretched on the PlayStation games. So on the plus side, you can switch discs on the PlayStation emulator. So if you want to play Final Fantasy or something else with multiple discs, then you just go into disc control and you select the next disc image. So that's nice. That's a good feature to have. But if you want to play one of these big action games, then the only way you're going to get anywhere is if you constantly go in and remap the buttons to whatever you need for that exact second. So it's just more trouble than it's worth. Now, that is all. Those are all the promised games, all the promised emulation systems on here. But you may have noticed that I put a couple other folders on here. Yeah, because I have heard that this console can play more than it's promised. So yeah, let's go into N64. And so this was originally invisible. It did not show Mupen 64 Plus until I put some ROMs on the card and tried to run them. And do they run? Yes. Yes, it takes a while to boot up. Yeah, see, it does run Nintendo 64 games. So hey, I was thinking that, even with the stretched ratio and even with the lack of buttons, that's definitely something to keep this system around for. And there's the kicker. There's the kicker. It does not run the game. It runs the games. It does not run the games well. Just... As you can hear, it has a very serious stuttering problem. It doesn't run the games as fast as it should. It probably runs them at about 80%. Let's be generous here, but that's definitely too slow to be acceptable. That's too slow for comfortable play. Now, when it starts, like this logo, the logo's fine, but then you try to go in and let's try to play a little bit of Mario Kart, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, go into one player. Yeah, so when it's before it gets to the 3D parts, it's almost. The difference is practically negligible. It's practically not, you practically don't notice it. But then you start racing. Yeah, you can notice a little bit of slowdown. And yeah, we're going into completely unacceptable territory. Not that you could play the Nintendo 64 necessarily, even if you did get over the stuttering, even if you could fix the stuttering problem, because, like I say, not enough buttons. In fact, the joystick doesn't even work as the default. So you have to go in and remap the joystick to act as the joystick for these 64 games, but then you don't have C buttons, you don't have Z buttons, you don't have, well, I guess you could have shoulder buttons, but yeah, just not enough buttons for Nintendo 64 games. So that's another deal breaker right there. I really, really wanted this to do Nintendo 64 games. That's one of the reasons why I got this thing to begin with. And I also have seen people put on TurboGrafx games and even Nintendo DS games on here. However, there were also problems with those. Apparently, the system has to be connected directly to a computer to run TurboGrafx, and while it can run DS games, it of course can't. you can't do anything with them. You can't touch the screen or anything. And just as an experiment, I put a 3DO image on here, and it does nothing. And from what I can tell, no, there is, like I said earlier, there is no way to upgrade the firmware, nor is there any way to install any other emulators on here. So that's just a big fat bust right there. Yeah. So that would wrap things up. However, anyone who's visited my channel may have noticed that I like to play games that are not necessarily licensed, not necessarily, noticeable, but not exactly given the go ahead by Nintendo or any other console manufacturer, console distributor. So, yeah, I put on a couple unlicensed pirate and bootleg ROMs on here. So let's go through a couple of them and see if they work. Here's Tom and Jerry 3 on NES, or Famicom, I should say. And that's quite bright. What happens if I play with this? Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, it works. It works just fine. It plays just fine. Of course, I say it works, but this is one of those pirate games that are naturally janky, naturally very hard to control, naturally infuriating to move around. Yeah, I've played this game before. In fact, I've not only have I played this game, I've also played the reskin Primitive Man and Primitive Woman. So I don't really need to play this game again to get any points across. But yeah, the Famicom thing, the Famicom version can play pirate Famicom games, so that's good. Let's see. Let's go into GBA. Yes, I put Ruby Destiny on here. That's another game that I've played on my channel previously. I've only played the middle game of Ruby Destiny, though. I've only played the Rescue Heroes version. And my card went funny again, so I had to turn it off and turn it back on. But that did give me an opportunity to boot up the game and get into some action. So yeah, as I was saying, the first game, it kept crashing on me. Second game is, yeah, I actually completed, and you can see the video on my channel. Third game, I technically also did complete, but I didn't get everything. There's a lot of post-game extra stuff to get through, and I just kind of got bored and never completed it, and I don't feel right uploading the gameplay when I haven't actually completed the game. But yeah, this one's pretty fun. It's basically a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon fan fiction, except it's set in the actual Pokemon universe with actual Pokemon combat, and except it also has to do with this Ruby Destiny plot that comprises the three games in the trilogy, and so yeah, it's pretty fun. It's just a regular Pokemon fan game, but yeah, it works on here. It works on here, so it's nice to know that we can do fan games on this system. Let's see, and then I have one on Game Boy, Super Donkey Kong 3. This is. If you've seen my NES, if you've seen my NES demake, no, if you've seen my gameplay videos of the NES demakes of Donkey Kong games, then this is basically a demake of Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, a demake of Donkey Kong 3. And geez, even at low volume, that is just loud. And yeah, one-hit death. That's the norm for these Donkey Kong demakes. You know, pirate Game Boy games are actually quite hard to find. They haven't really tapped pirates haven't really tapped pirates and bootleggers haven't really tapped the market for unofficial Game Boy games and such. It's all just Famicom, which I guess Famicom is more popular than Game Boy and such, so that's why they do it. But I don't know, I kind of want a little more variety. Anyway, yeah, that works. And yeah, of course, there are a bunch of unofficial Mega Drive Genesis games, including some that I could only get working on here. Yeah, on a regular Fire Core machine, I could not get Angry Birds in Russia to run. I can on here. So if you've seen my unofficial Angry Birds video where I show a bunch of different demakes of Angry Birds games on consoles, then yeah, this is basically the game that came before Angry Birds Star Wars. That's the long and short of it. It's the same gameplay, same goal. And hey, I can actually save. I can actually do save states on here, so that's not. I could actually complete the game if I wanted to, but I probably won't. And yeah, we got Mulan on here as well. Mulan works on here. It didn't work on the. I had a cartridge of it and it didn't work, and then I had a ROM of it and it didn't work. But the ROM on this likely much more stable emulation software does work. So now I can play Mulan, which is 1,000,000 times more exciting than watching the live-action Mulan remake. And finally, yes, I did find an unlicensed game for the SNES, which is very hard to find. I found Pokemon Stadium. That didn't work. But I found Hong Kong 97. And that does work. Blah, 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 blah. And and the profanity, and the Bruce Lee, and the Jackie Chan, and the pirate, the president's head, and I completely forgot how to play that, and it's game over. Here we go. Okay, it's this button too. Apparently, this was actually a joke game and a joke company. Like this was made by a Chinese journalist as satire, from what I understand. So there was no actual Happy Soft or anything. It's just that this game was made in response to something. That's what I've heard anyway. I could be wrong. But yeah, that works. So we can play Hong Kong 97 now. There are a lot of Super Nintendo unofficial ROMs that I actually do want to play. Like, there's a Digimon Adventure and a Pokemon Gold Silver. I can't find them anywhere. I can't find them in cartridge format or ROM formats. There's just a lot of unofficial Super Nintendo games that I want to play, but I can't find anywhere. And the Nintendo purge of most ROM sites didn't help matters at all. But yeah. Okay, so did we cover all the bases here? Did I show you practically everything? Yeah, I think that's basically it for the console. So, I guess all there is to do now is to plug in the HDMI and see what it looks like on the big screen. Yeah, it works just fine. Just as fine as on the console itself. There was a bit of an audio sync problem where the audio would play about half a second after the action was performed, but after I plugged it in and unplugged it, turned it on and off, everything worked after that. Though there was one weird instance where I tried to play Street Fighter, and it loaded up the game, and then it booted me back to the main menu, but it still had the Street Fighter music playing, so I selected Cadillacs vs. Dinosaurs, and somehow, I have no idea how, it tried to play both games at once. So one game was overlaid over the other. Except it wasn't picked up in my capture software. It just picked up Street Fighter. So this guerrilla style footage from my camera is the only evidence that actually happened. And I have no idea what happened. I haven't been able to repeat it, but quite interesting it was. But besides that, yeah, everything works just fine. Everything is, I didn't notice any screen tearing, any other audio glitches. Everything plays just as well as it does on the smaller console. Except now you're playing it on the bigger console in blown up 1080p. Of course, some of these consoles you don't want to see on the bigger screen, and once again, there is no way to switch the ratio. It's still in widescreen. So for the Game Boy Advance, that's okay, but everything else, it's just a big blurry mess in my opinion. So yeah, a lot of these games just weren't meant to be played in widescreen on a bigger screen. Out of curiosity, I did try the Nintendo 64 games again just to see if displaying the games on a TV screen while the console itself processed the games would cause the games to go faster. That's a big nope. They still stutter and they're still virtually unplayable in that state. So, yeah, it all works perfectly fine on a bigger screen. I just don't know why you would plug this console in and want to play these games on a bigger screen. Oh, and while I was going through all the games, I found one called Jizz Wars. Yes, it's asteroids. Except just exactly what you think it is. I will not be showing that video here because I want to keep this channel, so go find it yourself, you sick perverts. And there you go. That's all the everything this little system can do. And would you believe this is actually the more expensive one on the JXD site? This runs you about $85, brand new with the box and controllers and everything, while most of their other consoles are about $60 and below. Though there is another one, a slightly bigger version of this that also brags that it has a more powerful processor for about $10 more, so about $90, $100. So maybe that one runs Nintendo 64 games, though maybe not. Though if it does, then it probably still doesn't have third-party controller support. So what are my final thoughts on the JXD Rollin' Rocker, or whatever it's called, whatever that a very catchy name it was given was called? Well, it's an interesting toy. That's really all I can say. It's an interesting toy. So on the plus... bumped my camera. On the plus side, it does play all these games practically flawlessly. I have heard reviews that say that some games don't quite run, but the games did run for me, so maybe I was just one of the lucky ones. I did have a problem with Donkey Kong one time while I was playing this, but then I went back and it was just fine, so I don't know. I guess it just all depends on if this console's in a good mood or not. But yeah, everything's played flawlessly. Everything runs just fine. Everything controls, even with the wonky joystick here, everything controlled just fine. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's probably one of the best emulation stations out there in terms of the regular crowd of Famicom and Super Famicom and Mega Drive and all that sort of stuff. And the battery life is about, I believe I got about 3 to 4 hours out of it with the sound off. That's not great, but it will keep you occupied on a trip up to see your sister at college in Idaho. So yeah, technically speaking, most of it is really good. But then you run into the smaller problems that really do add up and make the system not as appealing. I mean, for one thing, you're stuck with these controls, no third-party controller input, and even when you do plug in another controller, you have no way of remapping everything to work. So, and then you can't play Nintendo 64 games, because even if you did get over the stuttering and such, you still don't have enough buttons to mess around with that game. And then everything's locked in 16:9, which that's basically the final straw for me, the locked aspect ratio, because if it wasn't for that, I could probably use this to do some game streaming, to do some live streaming and recording of unofficial games and that sort of stuff, but because it's locked in widescreen, it just doesn't look good, and it throws me off. So, and then of course the save state problem, which honestly, all things considered, is one of the smaller worries about this console. But so yeah, there are problems, and the problems add up, and it's a toy. It's just a toy for you to hand your kids to keep them quiet. You know, you couldn't afford the newest Xbox Series X, so you just find one of these on the shelves of a thrift store or something and say, "Here, play with this. This is what I played as a kid." Well, my parents played as a kid. God, are we at that generation already where the Famicom is played by old people? Oof. So, but as a streaming use, for actual gameplay, actual reviews and such, I can't do anything with it. It's fun to play around with. As I said, I've been playing with the Sims on it for a bit, but I can't think of a reason to really keep it around. I can't think of a reason to have it on standby for if I want to feature a game, or even if I want to test a game. So yeah, if you just want something to play around with and you don't mind the stretched ratio, then go ahead and find one of these. For an emulation system, it's pretty affordable. But if you are a serious gamer and you really want a good variety of things, then I would recommend going for a slightly more expensive system, or even putting these things on your smartphone or your modded Xbox, which is what I have. I have a modded Xbox with practically every single Nintendo and Super Nintendo game on it, and even though it only has component output, that's still good enough for me, and it plays everything in its natural ratio. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep the Xbox, and this I'm probably going to put on eBay. Probably sell it for maybe $50 or something. But that's my consensus. It's a fun game system as a toy, but if you want it for more technical things, for more YouTube-y things, then I'd recommend going and getting a more powerful emulation station, more attuned to your needs. So there you go. I'm just going to close out this video by going back into the herbs and seeing how far I can get. You're welcome to leave. Okay, seriously, goodbye.